Bryce was what we called the fun and fearless boy. He was the first to jump off the diving board at 5 years old, before his 9-year-old brother at the time would. You know, he was just happy, creative, just a lot of fun and just happy. And like I said, fun and fearless. Nothing stopped this kid from doing what he wanted. And that was all dashed away after the shooting. With his post-traumatic stress, angry, screaming, constantly sleeping in my bed, what's going on? That's something he's going to have to deal with for the rest of his life. He saw murder. He saw his teacher murdered. He saw his friends murdered. If it's going to rain, thunderstorm's coming, even though it's just rain. It's the noise from the gun.
On the morning of December 14th, 2012, Newtown, Connecticut became the site of one of the most horrific mass killings in American history. At approximately 9:35, a single gunman forced his way into Sandy Hook Elementary School, and before ending his own life 5 minutes later, shot and killed 20 young children between the ages of 6 and 7 years old, as well as 6 staff members.
I work night shift, and I got home around 7:30 in the morning. And I was just, you know, your typical day. It was gingerbread house making day for all the first graders. So I packed up his frosting, his graham crackers, and he's all excited, you know, as he always is, to trot off to school. So the bus picks him up. I jump into bed, but I'm restless. I don't know why, but I'm just extremely restless. I was just about to sleep. The phone started to ring like crazy. First it was my home phone, and then the cell phone went off. And I was like, what's going off? And then the home phone rang again. At this point, I'm like, okay, what's going on?
It's 911. What's the location of the emergency?
Sandy Hook School. I think there's somebody shooting in here. Sandy Hook School.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got a gun. I saw a glimpse of somebody. They're running down the hallway.
Okay.
They're still surrounding. They're still shooting. Sandy Hook School, please.
I was just like getting out of bed, and somebody started pounding on my door. And it was my neighbor. She's like, Jen, there's been a shooting. We have to go, you have to drive me. You know, I'm half alive, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? And I said, you know, I automatically thought high school. And I'm like, what's going on? I didn't have anybody at the high school. She goes, no, Sandy Hook. I'm like, what? And it was just like, it didn't matter. I like literally grabbed my bag, grabbed my keys. She jumped in my car, I jumped in my car. And we made it down there in less than 2 minutes flat, and she ran off. I mean, it was utter chaos at the firehouse. Helicopters, the SWAT team, and people were kind of like bunching in there. People screaming on the outside. It was horrendous. All the kids in the 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, they were all lined up. When he got to the 1st grade class, only 2 full classes lined up. Only 5 kids in my son's class were lined up and none on the other. My face I was just like frantic. I said, where's Bryce? Where's the rest of the class? There's only 5 kids here. Somebody had walked up to me and said, have you found your child? Because if you did, we need you to go and go home. And I said, no, I haven't found him. At that point, they said, we need you to come toward the back. We need you to come with us. And I said, why? What's going on? Where's my kid? And they said, well, we don't know. And you can just read their face. And I had fallen back into the bumper of one of the fire trucks. And I just sat there and I said, I'm not going. I said, he's got to be alive. I started to scream. A good friend of mine just literally running by me, trying to find her daughter. Her daughter didn't make it, which was Bryce's best friend. My son was in the back of the room. He barely got out alive, but witnessed murder. The gun was on his head when it either was on a reload or a jam. We'll never know, but it was that split second one of his classmates pulled him to run. He wouldn't be here if that gun didn't do that. And they were running to the fire station because there was always a retired fireman there. That one day, he wasn't there because he had a job. This guy, it's not his fault. He had a job. He says, these kids were banging on the door looking for them. Kids kept on running. They said bullets were coming at him. He was quiet. He was quiet. He's scared. Just snuggling. None of us wanted to be alone. It was daunting hearing the sirens, the helicopters flying over your house for weeks. Bryce hardly went outside that year afterwards. He started to reenact what he saw because I had an outside deck, and he would open up the door. He would draw these chaotic pictures of what we believe was the blueprint of his classroom, because he was Xing out people where they had died. He never came and explained it, but if you look at it, you knew what it meant. And those pictures went on for a while. It's just going to get harder and harder. The more they get older, the more they realize and understand that day.